So my advice is just know what you're doing, like know what your agenda is. If you're like, I want to tell the story of D-Day, not everybody sees D-Day in the same way, right? So know that you're telling the story of D-Day and understand what story you're telling about D-Day, and inevitably you'll wind up to a degree curating to honor it, or know that you're doing what I did, which was a riff, a sort of play based on some circumstances. I saw it in a very Stanislavskian way, right? There's given circumstances, that's history, but then totally imaginary characters. Like there's not a single historical figure in the show. How would they behave under those circumstances? I wasn't trying to dramatize events. I was trying to dramatize circumstances and then project myself into them.
As writers, we can get very into our image, but we are never embodying the characters the way the actors are. And my husband is an actor. I'm deeply respectful of actors. And I think what they can bring in terms of this little moment, this little line, I would rather sit here, let's talk about that. I think that is really valuable, to listen to their expertise and to their gut. They're inhabiting the character in a way deeper than you will actually ever be able to as a writer. And I think to be respectful of that is really important. And, you can get some great stuff too by listening and being collaborative.
What was the room like, and what was the initial work done prior to scripts being written?
Sam Esmail, the creator of Mr. Robot, had mapped out like the major plot points and beats and character moments of season 1. So we had those on the board when he came in, but we had a lot of work left to do, and still some stuff to fill in, and how do we get from A to B, and so on and so on. I'd say about a month in, we were fully staffed and up and running as fast as possible, because the first season we shot like a traditional television show where you're shooting as you're writing. Seasons 2 and 3 we changed the rules, and we write all 10 scripts before we shoot and get them into production form, and then we start shooting.
I'm sure you've had this experience. You really are reading one not so terrific script after another, where you can tell really by the 6th page whether you're going to continue reading or not. And it's an ear for dialogue and dynamic.
Something jumps out, and you just feel, I'm excited by this. I'm excited by odd take on these characters, by the bouncing off of dialogue. You read a million scripts all the time. Something excites you about it, and that's who you want in the room. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to have worked on a show. If you can get someone to give someone the script, and you've got good dialogue, that's what's important to me. It's what's important to Anya.
I know when I read a book and I watch something based on a book, it's like there are these moments that I'm like excited for. I pulled actual quotes from, like those parts that maybe people could say, that even things that the character Tess thought, if there was a way to either put it in her mouth or one of the other characters' mouths. Because I know that when you read a book, it's like there's these beautiful passages, and that's kind of what sticks with you. And then you see a movie, and you can't have her think that out loud. Right. But if there's a way to convey it, I just, I came up with a list of those things. Like
interesting. I remember seeing William Goldman speak once about adaptation, and he said, read a book 3 times, underline it, what affects you in different color each time, and the things that have 3 colors keep.
You're also incredibly lucky to be doing this. So if I wish I had only had the opportunity to study TV writing and TV production, anything about it, as opposed to plop, do this, and not knowing anything. So I wish I had had the incredible opportunity to learn the craft before you're learning it while somebody's staring at you like, why can't you do this? How come you're not born knowing how to do this? Because it really is a craft and hard to learn.